welcome back to my channel. So for today, I'm going to be showing you how to get this New Year's Eve glitter cut crease look. You guys already know that I have my brows done. To fill in my brows, I use the Ardell Pro Mechanical Pencil. Now I'm going to move on straight to priming my eyelids. I'm using the Essence Cosmetics I Heart Stage eyeshadow primer, and then I'm using a Real Techniques foundation brush, the E.L.F. Cosmetics Matte for Matte 2 palette, and I'm using this milky kind of nudie tone shade. I'm going to use this to highlight my brow bones. Because we are doing glitter on the lid, I don't want to do something too shiny or too glittery for my brow bone highlight. I do want to make it pop a little bit, but nothing that kind of takes away from the look that we have going on today. Go back into the palette and I'm going to use this taupey brown shade. It's just like a hair, maybe a shade darker than my natural skin tone. I'm going to take a Sigma E40 blending brush and I'm just going to work this into the crease. Back and forth, windshield wiper motions. You can see that I'm not doing any small circles. I'm kind of buffing out the outer third part of the eye, but I'm not doing anything crazy. We're just laying this down into the crease area to start building that crease, but it's not going to be one of those colors that it's going to be predominantly noticed in the look. This is just going to be used to set down kind of like the base and then to blend out any eyeshadows that we go in with further. I'm going to go into a more of like a peachy pink brownish shade. I'm going to take that on a Sigma E25 blending brush and I'm going to do the exact same thing, just working it into the crease, back and forth, buffing out the edges a little bit just so it's nicely blended out. But I'm literally just packing this onto the crease, just back and forth. And I don't know if you guys can see here, but I'm not even really using my hand. It's more just kind of flicking the wrist back and forth so we can start carving out that crease. And then we're going to go in with a darker shade to really emphasize that crease more and more. Just take your time with it. Like I said, back and forth, just use your wrist, start out in the outer third and then just bring it into your inner corner, just following that same crease that you laid down. And if you just flick your wrist back and forth, your crease will stay nicely defined and it will turn out. I'm going to go into this more terracotta color. It's still a little bit of a pinky color, but it's a little bit more brown and terracotta brick. I'm going to take that on a smaller brush. This is an E.L.F. smudge brush, and I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did with the other two brushes, just flicking it back and forth using only my wrist. This part I am going to be a little bit more precise into it, and as you can see here, I'm holding the brush more kind of like directly into the crease. So we're literally just following that line we initially set out and then just carving it out, just really sticking it into the socket of the eye and then just going back and forth. You can see here that I start in the outer part, and then when I get comfortable where I'm following my crease and really stick it into the socket of the eye, then I'll just go back and forth, just flicking my wrist. Seems tedious, seems laborious, but if you follow these steps, your cut crease will turn out. Now I'm going to take my E25 with no additional product and I'm just going to use that to blend everything out. Even though we do want a crease nice and defined, we also want to make sure all the colors are nicely blended so there's just not color sitting on top of other color. I'm going to go into the original Matte for Matte palette and I'm going to take this dark brownish kind of shade. It's like a nice warm chocolate kind of shade. I'm going to take that on the same smudge brush and I'm going to do the exact same thing. But this color is going to add a nice dimension to our cut crease and it's going to really make it stand out and it's going to really define that crease just a little bit more because it has a little bit more chocolatiness and a little bit more shadow. So again, I'm just using my wrist back and forth, windshield wiper motions. There's not a lot of blending happening in this look because we want it nice and tight and defined. And now we're going to move on to the actual cut crease part. I'm going to take the NYX HD concealer on a teeny tiny brush and I'm just going to start carving out that crease. As you guys can see here, this was not the most precise brush for this. So then you'll see me here switch to a more kind of smaller, tighter, thinner brush. You really want a nice brush that's kind of stiff, that's really going to follow the movement of your hand and just really carve out that area nicely. Start slow, start in the middle, most biggest part of your eye, and then work into that crease a little bit, and then just little by little carve it out. Here you can see me going back in with that smudge brush. I'm going to add just a little bit more of that terracotta color, and again, we're just going to redefine that crease just in that middle part where you need it, doing the exact same motion just to make sure that crease is nice and kind of cut precisely. And then I'm just going to kind of diffuse out the concealer in the outer corners. Here you're going to see me start it over again. I'm going to start in the inner corner this time and then just kind of carve out that area that I really wanted in. You can see here that I kind of goofed a little bit. Don't even worry about it. Like I said, we'll go back in with the brush. You just want to make sure that when you're doing your crease, or kind of cutting the crease, if you will, that it's nice and precise and that you take your time with it so both eyes stay symmetrical and that both eyes stay even. I'm going to take the E.L.F. glitter primer now on a teeny tiny brush, and I'm just going to work this on the areas that I want glitter on, which is pretty much this whole white part that we just kind of cut out. Be careful not to add too much glitter glue on here, otherwise the glitter will fall off, and be careful not to add it too much into the crease, because then you'll have crazy glitter inside your crease and nobody wants that. Now with a brush, I did add a little bit of Fix Plus, but if you don't have Fix Plus, you can just add eye drops, or you can add even setting spray on there, but you just want something that the glitter can kind of adhere to aside from the glitter glue, so then when you pack it on, it just packs a nice punch and that your glitter is really nicely defined. And I don't think I showed a clip of it, but this is the NYX Face and Body glitter, and I'm using the shade Crystal. So I'm just going to pack that on a couple times on both eyes. You'll have to do this with this glitter because it is a face and body glitter, so it's a little bit thicker. It's not chunky or crazy chunky, but it's not as smooth as like a pigment would be. So you'll have to pack it on just a couple of times to really get the intensity that you want, but that's okay. Just keep adding Fix Plus and don't worry, your look will turn out. I'm going to use this Revlon Eye Studio, I think it's like the Photo Ready Duo or something. This is in Twinkling Topaz, and I really like this one because the glitter side of this is tacky, but it's not crazy tacky, so it's not going to get stuck in your crease. It's just going to really help kind of pack a nice punch to the glitter that we're adding, and it's great to fill in any sparse areas that you have. So I'm just going to work that onto the areas I want, and then I just kind of wiped away any fallout that we had with a synthetic brush. Here I'm using a regular kohl liner. This is a black liner. You can use any eyeliner that you want, and I'm just going to tightline. And then I'm going to take my NYX, or not NYX, I'm going to take my NYC liquid liner, and I'm going to draw a wing on top of my eye. I really want to be extra as fuck because you guys know that that's how I roll, but you definitely don't have to add a wing if you don't want to. You can just add the glitter cut crease, lashes, or not even lashes, just the glitter cut crease and call it a day. But I really wanted to add a nice kind of dramatic wing to this look to finish it up, so that's what I'm going to do here. For my lashes, I'm going to be using these Mega Volume lashes from Ardell. This is in the style 251, and I'm using the Revlon Precision Lash Glue. Go back into that brown shade from the original Matte for Matte palette and using a teeny tiny Sigma brush. I will have it listed down below for you guys. I'm just going to redefine that crease a little bit more, so again it stays nice and kind of straight, and it just cuts the crease really nicely. And then I'm going to line my lower lashes with that same kohl liner. Here I'm using the NYX Angel Veil Primer. I'm doing it on my nose, my forehead, a little bit on my chin, and any areas that I have texture that I really wanted to decrease. And then for foundation, I'm using the CoverGirl 3-in-1 foundation on my Sigma Flat Top Kabuki F80 brush. Here I'm just doing small little circles, and then you'll notice that I'm patting in areas that I have texture that I really want to de-emphasize, or areas that I have any breakouts that I really kind of just want to minimize and stuff. I will use patting motions to really make sure that the foundation is nicely put onto the skin and it's smooth. But in any area of my face, then I will go in with small circles to make sure that the product is nicely blended out. I'm just going to plop on my lashes. I go in with the middle part, and then I will do the inner corner and then the outer part. I'm using tweezers, but if you can do it with your fingers, you go girl. I'm going to go in with the Maybelline Master Conceal Concealer. I'm using the shade Light, doing this underneath my eyes, down the bridge of my nose, Cupid's bow, chin, and on my forehead. And then I'm going to use a Morphe E8. This is from their original Elite collection. And I'm going to use that small brush to kind of blend everything out. Because this is a thicker concealer, I don't add a lot of it, even though typically I will do the triangle underneath my eyes, but a little bit goes a long way with this concealer. Now I'm going to use the Coty Airspun powder to bake my under eye area, and to add that on, I'm using the Sigma F89 Bake Kabuki brush. I love this brush. You literally just dip it into your product and then just pack it on your face and you're good to go. Makes life so much easier. I'm going to take this teeny tiny brush again from Sigma, and I'm going into that terracotta shade, and I'm going to use that to smoke out my lower lash line. I want a little bit of smokiness underneath there, but I also want it to be a little bit more precise. So now I'm going to take that E.L.F. smudge brush, brown shade, the original Matte for Matte palette, and I'm going to smoke out my lower lash line with that as well. And here I'm just brushing off any powder, and any powder left over I will just kind of buff around my face to make sure everything is nicely set. I'm going to use the CoverGirl Queen Lash Mascara in black, And I'm just going to coat my lower lashes with that. I'm going to take my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I'm taking this on a Real Techniques contour brush, and I'm just going to chisel out my cheekbones and then my temples, the side of my forehead and stuff, just to really kind of bronze nicely and add a little bit of contour and definition to the face. I'm going to go in with the Sigma Tapered Blending Brush, and then I'm using this brush with the same Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, and I'm going to work that down the bridge of my nose so we can really define that nose a little bit. And on a Real Techniques brush, I'm going to use this Blitzy Bronzer Blush Duo, and I'm just adding that a little bit to the apples of my cheeks and working it to the back of my hairline where my contour sits. And as you can tell, we're not adding a lot of contour or blush because we have glitter on our eyes and we don't want to take away from that look. I'm going to take this Wet n Wild times Fergie Center Stage Collection highlighter. This is in the shade Hollywood Boulevard, on an E.L.F. tapered brush, and I'm going to work that to the high points of my cheeks, down the bridge of my nose, and I will add that to my Cupid's bow as well. And then to seal the deal, I'm going to use this makeup setting spray from Wet n Wild, and then moving on to lips. For my lips, I wanted to do something a little bit more nude and blend it out because, again, we do have glitter and we don't want to take away from that look. So I'm using the Matte Suede Lip Pencil from NYX Cosmetics. This is in the shade Sandstorm, which is a nice kind of like Your Lips But Better shade. I'm just going to line my lips and then fill them in with the same pencil. And then for my lipstick, I'm going to use the Velvet Matte Lipstick from E.L.F. Cosmetics, and this is in the shade Blushing Beige? Blushing Brown? Something like that. I decided I didn't want a matte look, so then I went in with this Makeup Revolution Lip Euphoria Lip Gloss. This is in the shade Fate, which is just a little bit more of a pink tone. And you guys know the drill. Once we have our lipstick on, your look is complete. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this look. If you recreate this look, don't forget to tag me. Hopefully you guys learned something, even if it's just how to add glitter or how to do a cut crease. I hope you guys have a magical and wonderful New Year's Eve, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye!
Do you like my glitter look?
Huh? Yeah, I like it.
You didn't even look at it.
Yeah, I did look at it. It was shiny in the bottom.
It was shiny at the bottom.